I'd first like to start this video by saying that I'm sorry I can't find all the footage that I filmed for the scope, so this video is not going to be as thorough as most others. The eye box on this at 1x is fairly forgiving, as you can see. You can really get into some weird positions with this if you had to and still use it.
That one doesn't turn off.
This one?
No, that one.
Oh, you nosy.
6x is just like where all these other lower end LPVOs start to fail. It gets really tight as far as the eye box goes, and it doesn't appear like it gets a lot darker, but the very outer ring will get slightly darker than what the inside is. One, two, three, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Maximum brightness. Pew pew. No pew pew. Pew pew. Pew pew. It was right around this moment that I decided to turn around this corner with different magnifications to see if it'd be any easier or any more difficult to get the hit. Pew pew. Pew pew. Yeah, I thought that was hard too. Pew pew. Pew pew. Oh my god! Cole, I'm going to sound like a broken record, but again, from the bottom of my heart, and I'm sure everyone watching, thank you so much for lending me your scope. It's been absolutely wonderful, and I can't thank you enough. The Burris RT-6. It sits right in the middle of the Strike Eagle 1-6 and 1-8 as far as price. This comes in at about $350. The 1-6 Strike Eagle is about $300, and the 1-8 is about $400. Dead set right in the middle of the two. Now, I know most people are going to say, well, which one is better? Which is the best? And that's a fairly difficult question to answer. Sure, there's a lot of objective information, but there's also a huge part that people have to consider, which is you prefer, what you are going to like. Everybody is different. The 1-8, I don't really recommend because for the price, the 8X isn't really that good. I'd stick with a clearer 1-6X, like I recommend with the Strike Eagle, and I would recommend with the Burris. I'd recommend this over the 1-8, save the extra money. That knocks out the 1-8. The 1-6, I still prefer this, and that's just me. I prefer the reticle on this. I prefer the controls on this. I prefer, well, I think a lot of people would prefer the throw lever on this as opposed to the one on the Strike Eagle. Burris knocked it out of the park when they came up with this cattail design that just goes on all the dovetails at any position you want, 360 degrees around, fully adjustable for the user. It is awesome. However, Burris, and if you're watching, which I highly doubt, instead of having one set screw here, have two, just for peace of mind. It's not going to cost you any more money to have these things machined. It would be nice to see, because this had loosened up on me, running it back and forth as often as I did. So keep that in mind. You, the user that's going to buy this, make sure you get it in a position where you like it. Snug it up, maybe drop a little blue or even purple Loctite, I think they have, that's designed for really finite threads. Don't drop it down the hole, because then you'll never be able to get an Allen key in there again when it hardens. But put it at the, I would actually slide this off, put it at the tip of the threads on the block, then run the set screw through. This way you could hopefully pull the set screw out if you needed to. I like the course that Burris took when they designed this scope. There are a couple things about it that's a little weird, but we'll touch on that in a second. Turrets on this are okay. They're not great. They're not, well, no, they're not great. They're not good. They're okay. The windage on this is okay. The elevation has been worn in. I'm sure Cole has run this up and down a lot, and it just doesn't feel as precise as maybe it should, but it worked perfectly fine when I zeroed it, and I'm sure it's going to work fine for the rest of its life. So no issues there. The Illumination Knob is really nice. I prefer it to the Strike Eagle because it has off in between every on setting. So if you find a setting that you like, you'll leave it on there and you can turn it one click either direction to shut it off. Really cool. Burris also has their Illumination Knob at a slight angle. It's slightly canted. Don't know why. Don't care. Doesn't matter. They also have this wart-looking thing, which kind of looks like a helium release valve on expensive dive watches. Again,
Don't know why it's there. Don't really care, but it is another possible entrance for moisture. I highly doubt it's going to be a real issue for most. Fit and finish on this overall is really good. Nothing really else to say about that. The quick focus eyepiece is nice and tight. Never had to worry about that. The 1X on this is not great. There is a fair amount of magnification to it, but same could be said for the 1 to 6 and 1 to 8 Strike Eagles. From 2 to 6, it performs very well. No issues as far as darkness at 6X. Eye relief maintained its distance, so at 1X versus 6X, you never had to worry about readjusting your cheek weld to make sure that you were looking through the scope properly. So good job on Burris. I like where they took the illumination on this, and instead of illuminating the entire reticle, they only illuminated the dot and the horseshoe. My reason and personal preference for that is I prefer focusing on a smaller, finer dot. It also makes it a little bit brighter, I feel. I would imagine, again, this is speculation, but I would imagine that the smaller the dot that you're trying to illuminate, the brighter it could possibly be. That just adds up to why I prefer this reticle. I'm not going to say that I love this reticle. I like it. I don't mind it. The dot and the horseshoe are fine. The drops underneath that are okay. What is with the wind holdover on this? Burris, do you think people are going to be shooting a 22 LR in a hurricane or something? It's not really in the way. It just goes over my head. But again, it doesn't really bother me all that much. All in all, I think it's a pretty good scope. I think it's decent value for money at the price that they're asking for, $350. If you manage to find it on sale, it only makes it that much better. Glass on it's good. Fit and finish is good. Turrets are okay. Reticle is good. But again, it's up to you people. It's what do you want? What do you like? What are you going to be using it for? I can't tell you that. I'm trying to be as objective about this as possible, and it is a good optic. Cole, I think you made a fine choice buying it. The only thing I had an issue with, when I first got it, I wanted to change the battery to make sure that it was fully charged, and I couldn't get the battery cover off. It was on there so tight, and it's so small. It's got a very low profile, and it's smaller diameter than the illumination dial, so I couldn't grab it, loosen it up. Burris, you should make this a little bit larger, both length and diameter, and maybe give it a little bit more of a sharp edge, kind of like what you have with the illumination dial itself. It would make things a lot easier for changing out the battery. But that was it. Everything else is pretty good. And that's it. Cole, thank you so much. I really appreciate it. I'm sure all the viewers appreciate it. And I appreciate all of you viewers, because without you, I wouldn't be doing this. And I really enjoy it. So, on that note, thank you very much. See you again next time. The quick eye relief remain